turkey! I called an old MIT friend, a thermodynamics expert, who told me to fire up the oven quick. Blast that turkey 10 minutes, starting a thaw and the Maillard reaction. That's the complex chemistry that browns the skin, seals the juices, and smells awesome. Dunk that bird in running water, 20 minutes a pound, speed thaw to no more than 40 degrees, or get to meet salmonella.
Who is that? Some washed-up jockey?
No, that's food poisoning. Then spatchcock the turkey.
Excuse me?
Cut out the backbone and roast it flat till that bird's dead, really dead at 165 degrees.
Dinner is served.
In record time. Follow me at Chica Palbo on Twitter and stay tuned to The Technology Minute for more cool stuff like this. Enjoy your bird.
Sports Rage tonight.
The Cleveland Browns. All right, so you guys got an interception. Is there really a need for your entire defense to run into the end zone and pose for fake pictures? How about you score a touchdown and you do that? Oh, I did my job and I intercepted an easy pass, so let me run around like I just won the Super Bowl. Act like you've been there before, like the great ones.
It's Sports Rage tonight with Gabe Morency. Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 Pacific. On the SportsGrid Radio Network. The new SportsGrid app is now available on iOS and the App Store. Experience the ultimate sports betting companion that provides personalized content from your favorite hosts. In-depth matchup previews, game and prop picks, live odds, stats, scores, and more. All in one place. And of course, on the SportsGrid app, you can tune into our live television and radio coverage anytime. On the go, wherever you are. Download the SportsGrid app on the iOS App Store now. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. Days are getting cooler.
The shadows are getting longer.
You know what that means? It's football weather. So bundle up and keep it here for all the latest strategies and gridiron information. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome.
It's the opening kickoff with Carver and Lisi.
All right, here we go. Carver and Lisi with you. SportsGrid Radio, Sirius XM, channel 159. Great to have you with us on a Tuesday night on the grid. 844-843-6879 is the number. There's a lot going on. Big football show. As we have new college football playoff rankings that just came out. We've got the NFL moving to week 14. Got conference championship games this week. We have some NBA Cup games going on tonight that we've got a little gas on. So we do have a lot of things happening for us. That's for sure. Mike Carver with you. And actually, believe it or not, rare Tuesday appearance for the one, the only, go for the two, Joe Lisi. Hi, Joe.
What's up, meat? You missed me. Now, I came back on a Tuesday for you. How about that? I came in hot, too. Santi Aldama tonight, 8+ pounds at 2-1. How about Santi Aldama, 8+ pounds, the crypto special? What are you getting ready for Christmas? Are you getting ready for Christmas? You got the gray beard coming out. You didn't even shave for me. I mean, Tuesday night, you're not even excited. Not even excited with the college football playoff rankings. What are you doing, man?
Yeah, I got a lot going on. So no, none of that happened today.
Tell me your problems. Tell me. This is like therapy.
I like to start the week.
Tell me your problems.
I like to start the week by doing that, but I haven't gotten to do that yet. So tomorrow's another day. And we'll see if that does.
You're going to shave and clean up and get all special.
Well, you won't be here tomorrow. So you showed up today, but you won't be here tomorrow. That's pretty much how it goes for Joe this week. So Tuesday instead of Wednesday.
4 hours. That's it. You only get me for 4 hours.
The usual 3 hours and 50 minutes is what we get, as per usual for Joe here on Carver and Lisi. we do have, Joe, a lot to do, as you said. We've got a lot of gutless teams to talk about from the weekend. We have got a lot of NFL to get to. Lions and Packers are starting Week 14 on Thursday night. You'll be with the Syndicate crew. As always, big game, 51 and a half total. I know you guys were begging last night for all these hack no-name players on the Broncos and the Browns. You got a game with 1,000 yards of total offense, and you guys are looking for Beal and Humphreys and all these guys. Meanwhile, the stars were out, and you guys guys were digging for the gold and deep in the sand. You couldn't find it. Should have kept it simple, Joe. Winston, Judy, the big names, Joe. Big names. Mims. Your guy, Mims.
I missed out on a huge parlay last night with Troy Franklin, and he needed 12 yards.
Another guy. It's like
would have paid 70-1 right in that area. 70-1. Okay,
Yeah.
it was a big one. All right, and he had 28 yards in the first half. And before, when I broke it down, it was either going to be Marvin Mims or him. So I'm kicking myself. That Mims number was 16.5, and I said the college connection, him. I did hit a parlay though. Okay, I hit.
Oh, so you ate.
I hit Nick Chubb over 3.5 receiving. I mean, come on, they were feeding you like oatmeal. Nick Chubb over the 3.5. Jerry Jeudy for a touchdown. All right, and Jerry Jeudy on yards. So don't talk to me about not hitting stuff. And it's Johnny Manziel. Is that what you were talking about? Veal?
Yeah.
You were looking for Veely and this one and that one. Huh? Come on.
Yeah, you were looking for the veal there last night. It didn't go very well for you. We have a lot to do, Joe, obviously. But let's do this because it just obviously happened. And that is these new college football playoff rankings that just came out in the last hour. I guess you could say, Joe, the penultimate one, since Sunday we'll get the final ranking coming our way. Now, I don't know, Joe, if you could say I'm surprised by a few things here, to be quite honest with you. Oregon, Texas, Penn State, Notre Dame, 1, 2, 3, 4 in the rankings. And that, of course, then with Georgia, Ohio State, Tennessee, SMU, Indiana, Boise, Alabama, Miami. Arizona State is in, of course, because they're the Big 12 leader right now. But that's a playoff game Saturday, Joe. Arizona State, Iowa State is a playoff game. The winner will be in the field. With it, looking at it from the bracket standpoint, which, of course, is what makes this thing stupidly confusing, is how they do it. The buys right now, Oregon, Texas, SMU, and Boise State, setting you up for Penn State, Arizona State, Tennessee, Ohio State, Alabama, Notre Dame, Indiana, and Georgia, if it ended today. And obviously, Joe, we've been saying for weeks, it's going to change a lot between now and then. There's a lot of things that are going. Now, we can't really say that too much because how much is it going to change, Joe, between now and Sunday, especially? Now, let me start by asking you this. These two games on Saturday that really both teams are in, how much will they move these teams if they lose? Like, let's say Penn State loses to Oregon, which they will. Are they going to drop them any lower than they are right now? If Texas, obviously Georgia would jump Texas because I think Georgia's going to beat Texas. But let's say Texas did beat them. How much would Georgia drop? That's what I'm interested in, Joe. Are they going to penalize these teams on Saturday for losing conference championship games and putting them further down the list, allowing a Notre Dame to maybe get higher in terms of the seeding?
Great question, but they did it last year with Georgia, and that's the problem. When Georgia was undefeated, they dropped them out of the top 4. Now we have the top 12, right? But you're going to drop Georgia ahead of Tennessee that they beat, right? You're going to drop Georgia. Okay, well, you're going to drop Georgia behind SMU and Indiana because we know that if they played on a neutral field, Georgia would be a significant favorite over both of those teams, right?
Yes.
The problem is, and this is what kills me, how do you have Ohio State at 6? How do you have Ohio State at 6? How? Based off what?
That is honestly, Joe, the biggest thing here for me.
Come on.
That sticks out. And I know everybody's going to bellyache about Alabama. for the next couple of days, Alabama's in, guys. Whether you like it or not, Alabama's in. They're not playing another game. The guy, this dope that leads the committee, just said on the air, Joe, because they're doing all their interviews with him now. He just said they're not moving any of these teams that are not playing this weekend. Like anybody who's behind Alabama, nobody's going to pass them. So Alabama's in, Joe. They are not going to not be in this week. They're in the college football playoff.
Well, then here's the problem. So you're not going to move Indiana. You're not going to move Miami, right? And if Clemson knocks off SMU.
that would be the one sticking point. Would SMU fall beyond Alabama? And that's the only thing I think, Joe, that keeps Alabama out is if Clemson beats SMU and they keep SMU in, and that obviously pushes Bama to the first team out. That's it. That's the drama this weekend for who's in and who's out.
Well, not really, because Arizona State and Iowa State are guaranteed a.
But that's a play-in game. That's a play-in game. The winner's in.
Yeah.
That's one of the 12 spots. One of the 12 spots is being filled by the winner of that game.
I have a problem with Penn State as high as they are. I'm sorry. I have a problem with Penn State.
If they
I have a problem with Ohio State.
If they get whacked by 25 against Oregon, you drop them down. Got it, right?
Yeah, but you're going to drop them down to 12, 13?
Carver and Lisi, SportsGrid Radio. We'll pick this up when we come back.
Time to coil up that garden hose. And SportsGrid has you covered with strategies and info on football, baseball, and everything else. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Know someone with a drinking or drug problem? Learn how to get sober after we've shared these stories.
I was 35 with 2 beautiful children when my life and addiction started to spiral out of control. After my divorce, I went into a depression cycle and started drinking more often and using prescription drugs. After my second DWI and arrest, my ex-husband threatened to take our children away from me.
I was 17 when I became addicted to heroin and meth. I thought I could quit on my own, but I couldn't. It hit me when I was arrested.
Get sober now. Your private insurance may cover costs and we'll get you here. It's simple. Just call Elite Rehab Placement right now. Please, don't wait. Your life matters to us.
800-959-6348. 800-959-6348. 800-959-6348. Call right now before it's too late. That's 800-959-6348.
Pharrell, Coast to Coast.
This guy's saying Indiana stinks. They shouldn't be in the playoff. How sadly mistaken you are. You're going to be wrong on that one, brother. They're going to be in that playoff as sure as I'm sitting here. I recommend drinking a lot of rum. And even if you're soft, you might have a few glasses of wine if you're having problems making decisions like this.
It's Pharrell, Coast to Coast with Scott Pharrell. Weekdays, 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific. On the home of the winning edge. The SportsGrid Radio Network.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Grady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
When the weather cools off,
Major League Baseball playoffs heat up. Sit tight. The World Series is coming. Keep it here for every bit of the action with strategies and information to give you the winning edge. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
And we're back. Carver and Lisi, SportsGrid Radio, Sirius XM 159. Here with you on a Tuesday night on the grid. Joe with us on a Tuesday, and it's a good night, obviously, because the college football playoff ranking is out, and we are going to know the real 12 teams on Sunday, but you get a pretty good idea tonight. Let's take these things one at a time, Joe, because I know me and you don't talk to each other for days. We bounce around very quickly. I want to go back to the Ohio State, because you brought it up, and then I veered off into like 7 other places. So Ohio State loses to a 6-5 Michigan team at home as 21 point favorites, I should say.
Right.
Their rival, whatever, and they lose the game 13-10. Miami dropped further down this poll for losing on the road to an 8-3 team in Syracuse. On the road, 8-3 team, close game. Then Ohio State did, losing at home to a 6-5 team. They scored 10 points in the game and looked pathetic. Joe, I think that's going to be people's biggest problem over the next couple days is, why wasn't Ohio State, let's just say, penalized a little bit more for how they lost that game to Michigan? Because they're still getting, Joe, they're still getting a home game right now. If the way this thing works out.
It's a complete joke. It's a complete, the ass kissing for Ohio State in the Big Ten is ridiculous. It really is. It's absolutely pathetic when you think about it. And the teams that are deserving are Indiana and the others, right? Like SMU in regards to the ACC. But the ass kiss, it's the same thing. It's that they lost to a sick. You know what kills me is that prior to the game, they're going to boat race them. They're going to this is going to be bad for Sharon Moore, Michigan. Just wait. Ryan Days, he feels it in his belly. I never felt this sick until, please. Like, really, put me on the committee. They got their asses handed to them. Give me a break. They get the better. This was the preseason team to win the national championship. They had the best odds right there with Georgia and Oregon. Okay? And right there, Oregon's lived up to the billing, undefeated in the conference. And you have Ohio State that bought the best players, had the best roster, had Chip Kelly, had all these things and intangibles to make them go undefeated. And a gutless Ryan Day and Ohio State limped in to the playoffs yet again. Give me a break. Give me a break. How do you have that team as a fifth overall? I've never seen people enamored with a loss on the road to Oregon. Oh, well, they lost to Oregon 32-31. Yeah, but they lost as a 20.5-point favorite at home to a team that was averaging basically 10 points a game. Give me a break. It's a joke.
It is a joke, Joe. And look, I'm not saying that clearly I wouldn't have dropped them out of the 12. I'm not saying that. You could have put them at 11. You could have put them at 11. I think the only look, I don't think you could fall them past Indiana. They obviously have to be ahead of Indiana. They beat them. I don't care if it's 11-1 and 10-2. They beat Indiana. That's just, but it's what, Indiana beat Michigan. They lost to Michigan. So, you could play that game around in the circle, and Ohio State did beat Penn State, who Indiana did not play.
Where's the great win? The great win is at Penn State.
That's their win to hang their hat on right now.
That's a Penn State team, by the way, that didn't cover against UCLA, didn't cover at home against Illinois, didn't cover at home against Ball State with Connor Bazelak. You want me to keep going on and on and on?
No, you don't have to keep going on.
Pushed the limit by USC, a gutless USC team that has 6 losses. Come on. This is what we're putting weight in.
And look, they're going to pretty much stay where they are. I guess some teams could jump them. I guess SMU wins this week. They could jump them. Well, SMU would win. They're going to get a bye, right? I'm thinking of just the regular rankings in terms of SMU is going to win the AC. If they win, they'll win the ACC and they'll be one of the top 4 seeds. So this Ward Manuel, he's the guy that runs the whole thing. He's the chair, I guess, of the Dopey Crack Crab and Lobster Committee. He said on a conference call they will not change their evaluation of teams that aren't playing this weekend. The specific example of a Clemson win possibly helping South Carolina, he indicated that won't matter. That's the one thing that did not surprise me tonight, Joe. Why were people banging the drum so hard for South Carolina just because they finished strong and they won their last 6 games?
No.
They lost to Alabama and Ole Miss. They lost to both of them.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. I was in that train because I'll tell you why. Because the committee, look at last year. The committee said we're going to take the 4 best teams. Okay, the 4 best teams at the end of the year. It's not about head-to-head. It's not about – otherwise they would have taken Georgia, which they didn't. Okay? They left out Florida State. That was an undefeated team. It didn't matter. They said they're not as good at the end of the season as they were at the start of the season. And Texas and Alabama were better than them at the end of the regular season. Okay? They said that, not me. They did. And then on top of it, they potentially let out the hottest team and best team in the country because they lost an SEC championship game in the Georgia Bulldogs. They set the precedent last year. The 4 best teams. The best team in the SEC at the end of the season right now, you can make the argument, Georgia, Texas, and South Carolina. It's not Alabama. Even though they lost to them earlier in the year, they have won 5 or 6 straight and have been on a heater. They are the hottest team in the nation. Forget the head-to-head. That happened weeks ago.
Okay, but then we need more clarification then. What is it then that's more important? Because is it supposed to be the entire 12 games?
But
or is it supposed to be the last 6 weeks?
You see, that's the problem, Carver, is that there is no consistency. The
Exactly.
consistency, but that's the problem. And that's why they do it for dollars and they do it for TV revenue. They know they put South Carolina in the college football playoff. Yeah, it's deserving.
Well,
you can make
we're
that
not-
argument. But they're getting it's brand recognition. They want
course.
Notre Dame. They want Ohio State. They want Alabama. That's clear because of what they did last year.
Look, you knew, Joe, by hook or by crook, they were going to find a way to get Alabama in this thing.
Right.
To get Bama in this thing. You knew they were going to do that. Carver and Lisi, SportsGrid Radio, Sirius XM 159. We're back after this.
Don't look like an idiot at work.
Know your stuff.
Football and everything else. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network. SportsGrid TV and radio networks are the premier streaming video and audio channels dedicated to serving the sports wagering audience. Found on major smart TV platforms and streaming on SportsGrid Radio and Sirius XM Channel 159. SportsGrid's real-time data, expert commentary, and entertaining analysis transform viewers into informed sports enthusiasts. Our weekday radio lineup begins with the early line at 8 a.m. Eastern with Ben Stevens and Donnie Rightside. Donnie joins Kevin Walsh on Moneyline at 11 a.m. Eastern, followed by Football Full Circle at noon Eastern. Kaplan and crew join the party at 1 p.m. Eastern, and Pharrell Coast to Coast keeps things rolling from 3 to 6 p.m. Eastern. Get in the mix with Kevin Walsh and Game Time Decisions at 6 p.m. Eastern. Evenings simmer with Carver and Lisi, then boils over with Gabe Morency on Sports Rage Late Night at 10 p.m. Eastern. To find out where to find SportsGrid that's best for you, go to sportsgrid.com. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
The SportsGrid Radio Network presents This Date in Sports History.
Bob Gibson, who set a new National League record for earned run average this year.
1968, Major League Baseball adopts a series of changes designed to increase offensive run production. The strike zone was decreased and the pitcher's mound was lowered from 15 to 10 inches. Batting averages increased from 237 to 248, while pitchers' ERA jumped from 2.98 to 3.61. For SportsGrid Radio, I'm Mike DeMurgis.
Football Full Circle.
Joe Buck and Troy Aikman were throwing out all these accolades towards Jameis Winston, and he should be the starter and this and that. It's like every single time they started singing his praises, he would throw a pick six or at least an interception, and then it went deathly silent. There was never ever going back to like, well, maybe he's not really that good. That's Jameis Winston, right? I mean, I say it all the time.
It's Football Full Circle with Ben Stevens and Scott Wetzel. Weekdays noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific on the SportsGrid Radio Network. Right before your very eyes, the boys of summer are about to become the champions of fall.
MLB playoffs are coming.
And SportsGrid will bring you all the angles, strategies, and info. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
And we're back. Carver and Lisi, SportsGrid Radio, Sirius XM 159. So this is getting down to the end of it, Joe. It seems like basically here's what we have this weekend in terms of what's on the line. The winner of Arizona State, Iowa State is obviously huge. I believe it's now straight the winner of Boise and UNLV. You think UNLV beats Boise? They're getting it, right, Joe? UNLV if they win.
Are they? Is group of five?
Who else
Yeah.
Who else you giving it to?
I would say
I mean,
I would love to see Army if they won their conference.
Yeah, but they've pretty much told you tonight that UNLV is so far ahead of Army that it is. I know you want that bad. I understand, but it's not going to happen. And then it comes down to if SMU wins, Bama's going to be in. If Clemson wins, let's say a close game, I think SMU and Clemson will be in. And if Clemson destroys SMU, they'll drop SMU and put Bama in. I think that's where we're at, Joe, in terms of what's on the table this weekend. What else is there? Do you think that if Georgia got completely smashed by Texas, they'd completely drop them out?
They'd have 3 losses. I mean,
it would probably have to be like, smash
50
job.
to 20.
Like a 3-tutty win. Like if they smashed them. And by the way, I'm kind of surprised that Texas is favored in that game, considering they went to Austin and beat them. The game's in Georgia's basically backyard, and yet Texas is favored. That's very sneaky, Joe. Very sneaky, that line.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I still lean to the Bulldogs. Those type of situations. I mean, would it shock me if Texas won? No, because it's a rematch, right? You have an opportunity to see what you did wrong, what you did right. If he goes to Arch Manning in this game, right? I mean,
right. Well,
it's not going to shock me. And is Georgia playing elite right now? I mean, they almost lost as an 18.5-point home favorite to Georgia Tech. There's parity in college football, Carver. Outside of Oregon, every team has been susceptible. Oregon's been only team to take care of business.
How many of these 12 teams, like just let's say it's the 12 that are in there right now. Let's say these are the 12 on Sunday.
Yeah.
How many of them legitimately can win the whole thing? Legitimately.
I think Notre Dame can, Oregon, Texas, Georgia.
You gotta say it. I mean, Alabama.
I would say Bama.
What about Ohio State? I say no.
No shot. I'm sorry. No.
I'll
tell you
Howard
why.
Stinks.
Who told you Will Howard was overrated?
I know. You said it all summer when we were getting ready for this.
Right.
Of all the money that they had to spend.
Right. They got this guy.
Was he the guy? Why was he the guy they brought in?
I don't know.
He stinks.
Yeah.
He's got like 6 NFL wide receivers on the team, and he can't throw to any of them.
Carver, look, and here's the thing. He was very comfortable backing up Adrian Martinez and coming off the bench in Manhattan. No eyes on the program. The bullseye's on your back. And think about this. Threw a critical pick against Penn State, they won it. Throws a critical pick against Michigan, they lose it. Now it's do or die. You know that Ryan Day's feeling the pressure. Ryan Day in a big spot. Who's worse, him or Lincoln Riley? You tell me.
I'll tell you this right now. Day's getting chopped. He's out. They don't make the semis. If he's in the Final Four, he might save his job.
No. If he's not in the championship game, he's getting chopped.
I'll even go that. I think he's getting chopped.
He's getting chopped unless he's in the championship game and they don't get blown out. That is the only shot. Indiana, I love Indiana, meaning that it's a great story.
They're gonna get smashed.
They
whoever they play, they're losing. I mean, they're just. Well, Joe.
Boise might win one game, but national champion.
I don't think so.
Like go to the quarterback. You have to go.
Here's the problem. Here's the problem, Joe. Boise's gonna, if they give Boise to bye, which I'm still not sure they're gonna do, they're gonna have to play either Penn State, Notre Dame. Like I don't think they'll beat any of those teams.
I think Arizona State could make a run. I really do.
Carver and Lisi, SportsGrid Radio. We're back after this.
Fall is here. It's getting cooler. Football and the World Series are coming in. Life is good. SportsGrid makes it better. Get the winning edge. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
If you turned 65 recently like me, it's important you find a Medicare Advantage plan that gives you the coverage you're looking for. But finding one can be difficult. The best thing I did, and I suggest you do the same, is call a licensed insurance agent and let them walk you through your Medicare Advantage plan options. There are so many benefits you have access to, so make the call now and let the representatives explain everything to you. Our licensed insurance agents can offer you a variety of Medicare Advantage plans. Plus, the call is free, the information is free, and there's no obligation to enroll. We're here to make it easy for you to select a Medicare Advantage plan that may work for your needs. Finding a Medicare Advantage plan can be easy if you do what I did. Make a quick call right now to learn more. Thank you.
800-365-6303. 800-365-6303. 800-365-6303. That's 800-365-6303.
The Technology Minute with George Capalbo.
I overslept. It's noon and I haven't defrosted the turkey. I called an old MIT friend, a thermodynamics expert, who told me to fire up the oven quick, blast that turkey 10 minutes, starting a thaw, and the Maillard reaction. That's the complex chemistry that browns the skin, seals the juices, and smells awesome. Dunk that bird in running water, 20 minutes a pound, speed thaw to no more than 40 degrees, or get to meet salmonella.
Who is that? Some washed-up jockey?
No, that's food poisoning. Then spatchcock the turkey.
Excuse me?
Cut out the backbone and roast it flat till that bird's dead, really dead at 165 degrees.
Dinner is served.
In record time. Follow me at Chica Palbo on Twitter and stay tuned to The Technology Minute for more cool stuff like this. Enjoy your bird.
Fall is almost here. It's time to stow the lawnmower and get ready for all that glorious action coming your way. Stay tuned to SportsGrid for all the strategies, angles, and info you need to get the winning edge. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
We're back. Carver and Lisi, SportsGrid Radio, Sirius XM 159. Good to have you aboard here with us. We haven't mentioned this team yet, Joe, and it was pretty gutless. We kind of thought all year it could happen, but actually watching it happen, the way we said it was going to, was pretty wild. And that was Miami going into Syracuse and losing to McCord and Brown and that whole crew up there. And it's like, Joe, it's like, we watched it happening for the last 3 months, and you just knew that they'd screw it up, and they did again. They're another team. They spent all that money, and they didn't buy anybody on defense. I guess like they had nobody on defense that could make a big play. Cam Ward was phenomenal, but when the other team, there's only so much. He can't play both sides, Joe. He's not Travis Hunter. He can't play both sides of the field. Like, it's just, man, that was gutless from Big Chest Mario that game on Saturday.
Big Chest Mario, and I've been trying to tell people, he was brought to Miami for recruiting, coaching up this team, not stepping up in big games prior to coach his way and just out-physical everybody. And they get pushed around by Duke. I mean, that's the problem. He was an offensive line coach after his days at FIU with Nick Saban. He was a graduate assistant, right? Offensive line's been great. Okay, they're protecting Cam Ward. They run the football sometimes when they have to. They've been good. What about the defense? The defense, he was able to recruit at Oregon. You can't recruit at Miami. Oh, it's a scheme. Well, then get their ass in the film room, get their ass in the weight room, have them lift some weights, and have them use a tackling dummy because they're absolutely suck at the point of attack. They take bad angles. They don't want to wrap up. They don't want to get turnovers. You tell me. They let high school teams score on them. It's ridiculous. I mean, come on. you think it's going to change in the playoffs if they play Georgia?
Do you have a problem with all the people saying that they deserve to be in over a 3-loss Alabama or even a better resume than a 1-loss Indiana team? Do they have a
There's no
better
way you
claim
could put
than those?
Miami in over Indiana. There's absolutely no way. Yeah, what are we doing here? Like, you got to be kidding me. I mean, we're not going to drop Ohio State, but we're going to drop Indiana that has 1 loss to Ohio State, and Miami played down to Cal and Virginia Tech and Syracuse and Georgia Tech and 3 quarters with Duke. I mean, come on. What are we doing here? What are we doing?
Joe, I look at it this way. They had it all right in front of them.
All
they had to
was
do was
win.
beat Syracuse Saturday. In fact, Joe, if they would have beat Syracuse Saturday, I'd say they would have been in this week even if they lost. Even if they lost to SMU, they probably still would have been in. I think.
Well, now what? What do you think? You think they're going to be out?
Miami's out. They're done. How are they getting in?
Well, what's the scenario that they can get in? Hang on.
I'll give you the only scenario I possibly see, and that's if
Penn State wins.
No, how? Who's falling out? Who's falling out of the? Who's got to come out? That's already in right now.
You would need Boise State to lose. Hang on, you would need Boise State to lose.
But there's still a group of 5 that's going to slide into that spot. It's not a spot that they can get. The only way was what I said. What is if Georgia got completely smashed and they completely dropped them out. That's the only thing I see. Like Penn State and Oregon are way too high up. They're both in. Don't matter what happens. They're both in the game. SMU is, that if they win.
See,
the Clemson's argument, not in anyway.
The argument should have been between Ohio State and Miami. How do you have Ohio State at 6 and Miami with a similar record at 12? Because you're garnering the Big Ten that much more than the ACC.
Correct.
But yet you have SMU that has 1 loss at 8. Right. Realistically, Ohio State should have been 9, Indiana 10.
That's probably more what it should be. I think it should be more.
I mean, come on.
More that. I mean, you think Tennessee should be ahead of Ohio State, right? You think Tennessee should be ahead?
I do.
Of
I would put Tennessee on a neutral field. I would back Tennessee. I would bet Tennessee. So that's just the way I go. Who do I
Let
think
me tell
is
you
the better
something,
team?
Joe. I know that's the matchup today. I don't think it will be on Sunday. But if Tennessee is going to Columbus, I'll take the Vols. Give me the Vols. Give me the number. Give me the money line. I'll take them. That Ohio State team is gutless. They are gutless. You saw it. You saw it this past Saturday. And I would not trust them in a big spot. I just would not.
I don't trust Howard, and I certainly don't trust the coach. He sucks. Both of them. And that's not a knock on Howard. It's just that he is what he is. He's good. He's not elite. And I'll say it more than anybody. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. You want to smash me in the face with Will Howard, that's fine. But he couldn't beat out Adrian Martinez when he was there for the most part. Okay? He only came on in relief when Martinez got hurt.
The ACC commissioner, Jim Phillips, put out a statement just now after these rankings
What did he put out?
Quote, we are incredibly shocked and disappointed Miami dropped 6 spots to number 12. Miami has more wins and fewer losses than the team directly ahead of them, and a dominant victory over an SEC team whose late season surge includes a win over number 13 Ole Miss. Moreover, with 2 losses by a combined 9 points to a ranked Syracuse team and to a Georgia Tech team that just took number 5 Georgia to 8 overtimes, Miami absolutely deserves better from the committee. Not going to lie, Joe. Pretty good argument from Jim Phillips. I like how he worded all that. Fit in Georgia, the Georgia Tech loss, and now they almost beat Georgia. Fit in Syracuse, how they're ranked now. Fit in that they have more wins than Bama, less losses. He fit in a lot of stuff in there to make it seem very good.
Yeah, but the ACC is getting screwed in back-to-back years.
They
Aren't
don't deserve to have. They should have more than one team in the playoff. They should have more than one team in the playoff. And they're only going to, and if SMU wins on Saturday, they're only going to get one team in the playoff. And I don't think that that's right. I think that conference is good enough that they should have two teams.
They should, but I mean, here we are. I'm looking at this. What could happen that maybe Miami sneaks in? What could happen? Anything?
Well, they can't jump Alabama because the both
All right,
of
so
them
let's
aren't
talk
playing.
this through. Ready? Oregon wins. I'm going to throw scores out. 50-10 over Penn State.
They're going to drop 10 spots?
Well, if Miami drops 6.
They're not dropping Penn State out. They're not. And then Franklin will scream and yell that he had to, and here's the other thing, Joe. They wouldn't drop him past Ohio State and Penn State. They wouldn't drop him past those teams.
Why wouldn't they drop them? They lost to Ohio State.
Because they're going to give them a little bit of credit for playing the extra game and making the Big Ten title game. They're going to give them that
Georgia
juice.
didn't get the credit last year.
It's a new year, Joe. It's a new year.
It's a new year.
New criteria.
You're making
New
stuff
criteria.
up on the fly. It's like you had a drink
I think
at the
your
bar.
your only shot is if Georgia lost by 40 or 50, which isn't going to happen. I think that's your only chance of getting them fall far enough to fall out. I don't see it. We gave you the deal. It's at SMU
sucks.
Loses. If SMU wins, it's Bama. SMU loses, depending on how it is. Could be them or Bama as the last spot. Carver and Lisi, SportsGrid Radio, Sirius XM 159. We're back after this.
Yeah, it's getting cooler. Football weather is here. Stay tuned for all the latest odds, strategies, and info. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network. The new SportsGrid app is now available on iOS and the App Store. Experience the ultimate sports betting companion that provides personalized content from your favorite hosts. In-depth matchup previews, game and prop picks, live odds, stats, scores, and more. All in one place. And of course, on the SportsGrid app, you can tune into our live television and radio coverage anytime. On the go, wherever you are. Download the SportsGrid app on the iOS App Store now. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
The SportsGrid Radio Network presents This Date in Sports History.
Bob Gibson, who set a new National League record for earned run average this year.
1968, Major League Baseball adopts a series of changes designed to increase offensive run production. The strike zone was decreased and the pitcher's mound was lowered from 15 to 10 inches. Batting averages increased from 237 to 248, while pitchers' ERA jumped from 2.98 to 3.61. For SportsGrid Radio, I'm Mike DeMurgis.
SportsGrid TV and radio networks are the premier streaming video and audio channel dedicated to serving the sports wagering audience. Found on major smart TV platforms and streaming on SportsGrid Radio and Sirius XM Channel 159. SportsGrid's real-time data, expert commentary, and entertaining analysis transform viewers into informed sports enthusiasts. Our weekday radio lineup begins with the early line at 8 a.m. Eastern with Ben Stevens and Donnie Rightside. Donnie joins Kevin Walsh on Money Line at 11 a.m. Eastern, followed by Football Full Circle at noon Eastern. Kaplan and crew join the party at 1 p.m. Eastern, and Pharrell Coast to Coast keeps things rolling from 3 to 6 p.m. Eastern. Get in the mix with Kevin Walsh and Game Time Decisions at 6 p.m. Eastern. Evenings simmer with Carver and Lisi, then boils over with Gabe Morency on Sports Rage Late Night at 10 p.m. Eastern. To find out where to find SportsGrid that's best for you, go to sportsgrid.com. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
No way football is played in the fall and winter.
Because the hits don't hurt as much when you're numb. Get the lowdown on all the sports action coming up right here.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Yeah. And we're back. Carver and Lisi, SportsGrid Radio, Sirius XM 159. All right, Joe. A few things here. We are going to have to, before we leave tonight, we do need to give our picks for the three Friday night games, all right? So get yourself ready. I'll give you about an hour for that. We'll do that before we get out of here tonight because we're on Friday, but some of those games are going to be starting. I think we get those picks out tonight. And then Friday night, Joe, we'll do all the Saturday games. We always pick every game conference championship weekend here on the show.
This week.
I did get you this week.
I got screwed with Florida State. Mike Norvell kicking an onside kick up 13. He doesn't realize in that matter that you got to cover for the boosters. I mean, what an idiot! You want to talk about a complete moron?
I'll tell you. I'll tell you that I was really bothered by a few things. At least my plays on Saturday. Number one, nice effort by Kansas. And I told you on Friday night. I said I know what's going to happen, Joe. I went after them with Iowa State. I went after them with BYU. I went after them with Colorado. Now that I'm going to back them, they're going to shove it up my you-know-what. And sure enough, they get destroyed in Waco against Baylor. So I did that to myself. I own it. It is what it is. Number two, if you would have told me that Purdue was going to get shut out, I would have thought that under 56.5 I would get home with that. But man, Joe, it's like Signetti was just like trying to grind it. He was like basically he wanted him to go out and fire Walters right there on the field at one point in that second half. He's like, just go out there and fire him right there.
Gutless by that kid Walters.
To nothing, Joe. 66-0, getting blasted like that. Losing an under like that was very painful. And the third one for me was, Bronco, geez, late night on the islands. I know funny things can happen out there late night, but Bronco let me down, Joe, out at Hawaii late night on Saturday. I was very upset by that. It was
a sexy play by a lot of the so-called sharps out there on the West Coast. So
it was a big West Coast play? Is that what it was? New Mexico was a big West Coast play?
Yeah, it was a big West Coast wheel play. So, I got screwed by Florida State. They deserve to cover that. 4 fumbles. The kid fumbles on the 5-yard line. Just complete. Just unbelievable.
I'll tell you this. I thought because I was with you on one of your other games. Arkansas deserved to cover that Missouri game.
They gave up the touchdown with 2 minutes left. What are they doing to Brady?
Just
Cook?
awful.
Everything was there. They're playing for the field goal. The kid run. Like, what happened? You completely just let go of the rope in the final 2 minutes.
I guess 6-6 was good enough to keep Sam his job.
Yeah.
Huh? They're bringing Sam back.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. That kid number 2, the wide receiver for Arkansas, he's going to make a great throw. He's got hands like mitts. He's good. It's like going into a spider web. Whatever you throw at him, he catches. Unbelievable. He's got, just hands. He's just ripping it in. He's got hands like I can't. I love that kid. That kid kept us alive on 3rd down, 4th down. The kid's completely up. Unbelievable.
I will have a 2-game lead on you going into the championship week. So I'm up close. 2. So it's very close. And you, last year championship week, you had a hot championship week.
9-1.
So we'll see if you could duplicate that, and we'll do the 3 Friday games here by the end of the show. We'll get ourselves set up for that. We'll pick the rest of the games later in the week. And some of these games, Joe, are I'm pumped for this UNLV Boise game Friday night. I think that's going to be a hell of a game.
I'm not pumped for that.
You're not. Game. You're down on all these.
I like the Big 12 championship. That game is competitive each and every year. Always goes down, except for last year when I needed the Pokes to actually keep it close in the first half. Each and every year, it's a competitive game. And obviously the SEC championship. All the big ones. I do want to see. I know a lot of people on Oregon, and I backed Oregon all year. But I got to admit that line has me a little intrigued. Poking my nose where it doesn't start,
What'd you think of Loxley crying? Actually, let's ties into 2 things. A, Loxley crying like a baby with Franklin scoring that time. And I thought Franklin's answer in the postgame, Joe, was great.
Right.
You know, my 3s and 4s are allowed to play football. You know, it is a different thing. I thought Franklin, who I can't stand, you know that, I thought he gave a pretty good answer for it. And 2, it also leads into this. What the hell was going on this weekend with all the fights with the flags at the midfield?
Like
Joe?
all of a sudden now they got upset? All of a sudden.
What?
Well, if you're that upset, do something about it on the field. I mean, give me a break. Oh, they're putting the flag on the field. Well, maybe, you know what? Why don't you, grab some stones and tackle somebody when it's between the white lines for 60 minutes? They're planting a flag on our field. Who cares? You lost as a 20.5-point favorite. Shut up before I give you a kick in the ass. Give me a break with these players today. Unbelievable.
It really was. It was unbelievable.
These guys need a kick in the ass. Let me tell you. Go back. They're planting a flag. Grow up. Play football. Nobody's forcing you to play football. It's hit or be hit. Hit somebody when it counts. These kids are unbelievable. Nobody wraps up. Nobody blocks. Get your ass into the film room. It's a revenge game. You want to dominate the game? Watch film from Monday through Friday, straight until kickoff. Give me a break with these guys. They have no problem making TikTok. No problem.
Getting on him about the TikTok. They have no problem with the TikTok. Making TikTok.
Look at what I did. Get your ass in the weight room. Give me a break. I'm 50-something. I could outlive some of these kids. Unbelievable.
I knew you were going to be hot about that. I knew you were going to be hot about that. Carver and Lisi, SportsGrid Radio, Sirius XM, Channel 159. We are back on the grid right after this.
The boys of summer become the champions of fall. The World Series is on its way. And SportsGrid brings you every angle. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Do you use the expensive blue or yellow pills to charge your sex life? Are you thinking about it? What if we can promise you the same results for less than $3 a pill? If you're paying $20 a pill for the other pills, you're getting taken to the cleaners. Our pills deliver the exact same results for less than $3. You'll save more than $16 a pill for the same results. And right now, radio callers will get 44 blue or yellow pills for $120 with free discreet shipping. You can save more than $700 off pharmacy prices. Charge your sex life now and save a ton of money. Call now and get your 44 pills and save over $700 and qualify for free shipping. Stop overpaying and call right now.
Paid for by Steel Man Pills. 800-823-3851. 800-823-3851. 800-823-3851. That's 800-823-3851.
Football full circle.
Everything has gone wrong for New York. I don't know how Rodgers, why would any team put any faith in him? So many opportunities to win football games down the stretch when it really counts. 5 games, and he has failed every opportunity this year to get the team in the end zone. I don't know how you would sell the Jets fan base on Aaron Rodgers is going to be our quarterback.
It's Football Full Circle with Ben Stevens and Scott Wetzel. Weekdays noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific on the SportsGrid Radio Network. The new SportsGrid app is now available on iOS and the App Store. Experience the ultimate sports betting companion that provides personalized content from your favorite hosts. In-depth matchup previews, game and prop picks, live odds, stats, scores, and more. All in one place. And of course, on the SportsGrid app, you can tune into our live television and radio coverage anytime. On the go, wherever you are. Download the SportsGrid app on the iOS App Store now. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. Get sports gaming strategies and information 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Everything you need to get the winning edge. Right here. All the time. No wonder the wife says you never listen to her. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
And we're back. Carver and Lisi, SportsGrid Radio, Sirius XM 159. Great to have you with us here on the grid. So there you go, Joe. Yeah, I thought it was was a feisty rivalry weekend, all around. It was very feisty.
But that's why
and
we
most
love college
people.
football. That's why we
It
get
is.
you know. I mean, really. I mean, too bad those rivalries don't exist in the NFL where they just mail it in.
Yeah, they definitely don't exist in the NFL. I forget what game it was this weekend, Joe. Oh, I'm trying to remember what game it was, but there was a play, like there was something going on, and these guys came over and gave, like in the middle of the game, gave each other a little hug, a little tap on the helmet, like I don't need it. Like it just, can we play the game? Can we act like we don't like each other at least
Eagles
in between the
Dallas,
lines in the 60 minminutes? Like, can we
doesn't
try to?
matter. No,
Like it's so
doesn't
different now,
exist.
Joe, in the
Not
NFL with all the
football.
money. It's a business. I understand. It's not like
Yeah,
the
but
old days. Like
it's more
you're
than
talking about in the 70s and 80s, Joe, where it's like you hated that other team and you were fighting for that inch and you had all that.
Even Carver,
These guys all live
mid-90s.
that now, so it's
Mid-90s,
hard.
yeah. Hey, DM me for a collab. Hey, DM me for a collab. We'll collab together, man. Hey, DM me. We'll do a collab together on TikTok. Yeah, man. It's all about the brand. Give me back to the days of Randall, Keith Byers, Reggie White, Andre Waters, and go back to the days of Aikman, Emmett, and Mike Irvin. Okay? Give me those days. No, I'm serious. I can't anymore. I just can't.
I don't. I've had enough of it. To be quite honest with you,
Give me the
it's too much for me.
I want to go to the edge, the Bounty Bowl. You know what? I don't know. It was entertaining TV at some point back in the day.
Yes.
As long as nobody got it physically, in the hospital, Steelers and all those rivalries, Steelers, Browns, give me those. Greg Lloyd, Kevin Green, Levon Kirkland, give me those.
It's over. It's over.
Cordell.
It's just not the same anymore.
There's no rivalries anymore. Even in division, these teams, they're all kissy, huggy. It's horrible.
It is horrible. I'm not going to disagree with you on that. We do have, I have 2 minutes here, and we will do some NFL at the top of the next hour. And we will, Joe, by the end of the next hour, also pick those games for Friday night. We do have a couple of, let me give you an update on some NBA. The Knicks are up 21 on Orlando. The winner of this game moves on in this NBA Cup. So there's a lot of these games, Joe. This is tonight, the last game of the group stage.
Here we go.
So the winner of this game goes to the knockout round, and the Knicks are up 20. Same thing in Detroit. The winner of Milwaukee and Detroit goes to the knockout round, and the Bucks are up 20. 25 for Dame Time. I need him to hit one more three, Joe, for 6 threes. He's got 5. Can we get one more three from this pig, Dame Time, here before he gets out of there?
Why
That's
not?
what I'm saying. Can we just go ahead, go down and just take over? That's what we really need from him at this point. Those are really the only games right now that matter. The Mavs need to win by a lot. They just started. They're up 4. The Thunder need to win. They're up 9. If the Spurs beat the Suns, Joe, they will advance to the knockout round.
Wow.
So you have your boy Wembenyama tonight, Joe. Spurs have played all right.
So
good.
So good.
Wembenyama.
He just glides. He just glides. Inside, outside, 3-ball bounce. Just does it all.
Wembenyama.
Never wrong on him. They were never wrong on Wemby. Let me just say this. Say this. And you're gonna like me for this. Let me tell you, Brian Kelly, he better get it together, okay? Because he's losing kids left and right. He needs a kick in the ass. I don't want to say it. On top of costing me money this year, he needs to get it right, because he don't get it right, he's dead to me. I'm telling you that right now. He's got a very slim margin to turn around this program. I mean, we lose Harold Perkins. We lose another edge rusher. Guys are dropping like flies. I don't know who we're getting, but we don't have Bryce Underwood under center next year. So you tell me.
Where's Perkins going? What's he doing?
Transfer portal.
Man, you hyped that kid up last year. He's done absolutely nothing at LSU. Carver and Lisi back, hour 2.
Fall is here. It's getting cooler. Football and the World Series are coming in. Life is good. SportsGrid makes it better. Get the winning edge. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
The Technology Minute with George Capalbo.
I overslept. It's noon and I haven't defrosted the turkey. I called an old MIT friend, a thermodynamics expert, who told me to fire up the oven quick, blast that turkey 10 minutes, starting a thaw, and the Maillard reaction. That's the complex chemistry that browns the skin, seals the juices, and smells awesome. Dump that bird in running water, 20 minutes a pound, speed thaw to no more than 40 degrees, or get to meet salmonella.
Who is that? Some washed-up jockey?
No, that's food poisoning. Then spatchcock the turkey.
Excuse me?
Cut out the backbone and roast it flat till that bird's dead, really dead at 165 degrees.
Dinner is served.
In record time. Follow me at Chica Palbo on Twitter and stay tuned to The Technology Minute for more cool stuff like this. Enjoy your bird.
Pharrell, Coast to Coast.
This guy's saying Indiana stinks. They shouldn't be in the playoff. How sadly mistaken you are. You're going to be wrong on that one, brother. They're going to be in that playoff as sure as I'm sitting here. I recommend drinking a lot of rum. And even if you're soft, you might have a few glasses of wine if you're having problems making decisions like this.
It's Pharrell, Coast to Coast with Scott Pharrell. Weekdays, 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific. On the home of the winning edge. The SportsGrid Radio Network.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
You're listening to Where Real Winners Go for actionable insights and expert perspectives on daily sporting events.
7 days a week.
It's not a secret or anything.
I mean, we have a promotion budget for Pete's sake.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Please welcome.
It's the opening kickoff with Carver and Lisi.
All right, here we go. Carver and Lisi with you. SportsGrid Radio, Sirius XM, channel 159. Great to have you with us here on the grid. We've got a lot to do this hour. We'll start to talk some of the NFL. We'll do the picks for Friday night's college football championship games and several other things as well. Some gutless teams to talk about, including Matthias Burbell's Atlanta Falcons. What a gutless effort that you talk about. I mean, Joe puts up a poll every Sunday, like who is the most gutless coach or gutless team. If he did an NFL one this week, I hope everyone voted for the Falcons. That's for sure, because they were awful. Mike Carver with you, along with the encyclopedia of college football, the one, the only. Go for the 2, Joe Lisi. Hi, Joe.
What's up, Carver? Great week of NFL football. I enjoyed this weekend for some reason. I don't know why, but I was into it. You know, watching Russ and Joe Burrow light it up. I won some coin on that. That was great. That was my best bet on Sunday, the over. 46.5. I got it in the first half. Unbelievable. I think I was more excited about the NFL after knowing that I hit Tennessee early in the college and watching that gutless effort out of FSU and Purdue on Saturday night. And here's another one. I know we didn't talk about it. Texas, Isaiah Bond, the invisible man. This guy's a pure number one. He cost me multiple parlays for not the one rush for 3 yards, and Sark can't dial up any pass plays for the guy. Give me a break on that. The invisible man on Isaiah Bond.
Isaiah Bond. Listen to
Glass
Joe.
house.
Getting all over.
Glass house Bond.
Getting
There he
all
is.
over him. He's
Glass
looking for
house Bond.
Isaiah Bond stats is what he's
Had
looking
him for
for.
40 yards. Got no receptions, 1 rush, 3 yards. Glass house Bond.
Few things, Joe, here from this weekend in the NFL. Number one, I can take Monday night games like that all the time, even if the team sucks, Joe. If you give me 41-32 Monday night, I'll take primetime games like that all the time.
Yeah.
That was great.
Yeah.
We love with games like that.
Opportunity to make money. The worst is when you get a 20 to 13 game and it's just like watching paint dry. And thankfully, the refs didn't overtake the game. No penalties, really. It wasn't like every other play a penalty. Thankfully, they got to take notice, the NFL. Like, these refs, they suck, too. Like, really, I wish we could interview some of these refs. That guy last night, that head official, he definitely got his button somewhere. He's got that face. He looks like he's a made guy, that guy.
He does. He does look like that.
And look,
that
ring,
was
I bet.
That was the full Jameis Winston experience, right, Joe? You got it all.
Good, the bad, and the ugly.
Jameis night.
Good, the
Good,
bad.
the bad, and God, if you had the Browns plus 6.5, that was ugly.
I did.
The way you lose a game like that. Not getting a guy throws for 500 yards and 4 touchdowns and you don't cover. Think about that, Joe. 500 yards and 4 touchdowns and you didn't cover the game. How is that possible? But either way.
How about that? How about the ebbs and flows? You go from not covering to then getting the pass interference call on the 3 to cut. All we got to do is convert, baby. All we got to do is
you
convert.
thought you were going to get the double back door. You figured you were getting the Bengal people thought. I mean, the Bronco people thought they were getting the back door with the pick 6, and then Jameis almost double backdoored him when he came back down the field, and then he throws another pick. Just come on, you got to be kidding me. And I said Bengals because I was going to go to them next, Joe. God, were they gutless on Sunday, too. How pathetic was that? Now, that was a party over for you. That was a party
I gave it out.
I
gave it out.
I know.
Best bet.
I know.
We've been rolling hot with the best bets. Totals on the show.
I know you have.
What can I say?
I know. You have. You've been doing it. And, I mean, how bad is your defense when you can make Russ look that good? You can make Russ look that good.
They made him look like Neil O'Donnell and Terry Bradshaw combined with a little.
He was hitting them all, Joe. I mean, Freiermuth, Pickens, him, all over the place.
And on top of it, Najee had 75 yards. And Najee still had 75 yards on the ground. Would they put up 600 total yards of offense? That was crazy.
Yeah, let me tell you, the Bengals, man, they stink.
3 straight games for the Bengals, 35-34, and would they lose? 44 they gave up on Sunday?
Mm-hmm.
They're gutless.
Very gutless. Don't disagree
Here's the
with
problem,
you.
though.
Extremely gutless.
Everybody's going to tell us, well, you know what? I got a little guess. You know what?
Ooh.
I had a protein shake before the show. You know what? The schedule lines. How much longer could this team scrape themselves up off the mat? I mean, at what point does Chase say, you know what, I'm not doing it anymore? I want my money. This defense, I mean, you could throw out a high school kid on a 7-on-7 drill, and he'll throw for 270 on this team. I mean, really, they can't stop anybody, Carver. They can't stop anybody.
Can't stop anybody. We gave a stat on. We gave a stat out on Coast to Coast today. For who? For the Steelers?
For Bengals. Bengals.
Oh,
dead
the
under.
Oh, they're playing the Cowboys on Monday night.
Dead under.
I don't know about that.
Well, you think that's like one more prime time? I'm going to showcase me and CD going up against each other. Me and Chase.
I don't. I think that. Why you think it's an under because they're going to pack it in? You think that they've quit? That they're just going to shut it down now?
Well, you think they're going to win? You think they're going to win 5 straight and finish 9-8?
No, absolutely not. I don't think they're going to do that.
So that's my point, though. Like that's the only way. Like my point is, like, this team is like going to be checked out. Like, no, you saw Burrow's body language at the end of the game. when he got strip sacked. It's like enough already. They're willing to go to Cabo now. Like it's over.
Burrow's the only quarterback in NFL history to average 275 passing yards per game with 30 touchdowns and 5 or fewer interceptions through 12 games and have a losing record. Four out of the other 5 guys who have done it, Joe, won the MVP that year that they had those numbers.
He ain't winning the MVP. Carver.
No, what I'm saying to you is he's had the numbers that he has put up have been unbelievable, and it's just it shows you how embarrassing the rest of the team.
That defense was the strength a couple of years ago with Anarumo.
Anybody looking to hire Lou anymore, Joe? Is anybody knocking on Lou's door after this year? Guess he should have took that Arizona job, huh? Guess Lou should have went to the Cardinals after all. Oh, jeez.
You know?
I mean, Lou should have struck while the iron was hot. Iron's
Lou
cold
thought he
now.
had a winner on his hand. He's almost like Luke Fickell in Wisconsin. Who's worse?
How's Luke doing? Luke keeping his job too? They're gonna bring Luke back for another spin?
He's chopping everybody. He's chopping everybody. Luke Fickell. Plus, on top of it, I think he has plugs in his hair. I think he went for the plugs across the front. I think he did.
Oh boy. Oh man. And how about I know I keep jumping. Rule was pretty gutless on Friday night in that Iowa-Nebraska game, too.
How do you lose that game? You got a third-string quarterback, Carver.
Every year they lose that game. Every year they find a way to lose that game.
How do you lose that game? This Matt Rule with this dumb face, too, every time they lose.
Good thing we had 3.5, right? Carver and Lisi, SportsGrid Radio, Sirius XM 159.
That garden hose. And SportsGrid has you covered with strategies and info on football, baseball, and everything else. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
The new SportsGrid app is now available on iOS and the App Store. Experience the ultimate sports betting companion that provides personalized content from your favorite hosts. In-depth matchup previews, game and prop picks, live odds, stats, scores, and more. All in one place. And of course, on the SportsGrid app, you can tune into our live television and radio coverage anytime. On the go, wherever you are. Download the SportsGrid app on the iOS App Store now. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Sports Rage tonight.
The Cleveland Browns. All right, so you guys got an interception. Is there really a need for your entire defense to run into the end zone and pose for fake pictures? How about you score a touchdown and you do that? Oh, I did my job and I intercepted an easy pass, so let me run around like I just won the Super Bowl. Act like you've been there before, like the great ones.
It's Sports Rage tonight with Gabe Morency. Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 Pacific. On the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Know someone with a drinking or drug problem? Learn how to get sober after we share these stories.
I was 35 with 2 beautiful children when my life and addiction started to spiral out of control. After my divorce, I went into a depression cycle and started drinking more often and using prescription drugs. After my second DWI and arrest, my ex-husband threatened to take our children away from me.
I was 17 when I became addicted to heroin and meth. I thought I could quit on my own, but I couldn't. It hit me when I was arrested.
Get sober now. Your private insurance may cover costs and we'll get you here. It's simple. Just call Elite Rehab Placement right now. Please don't wait. Your life matters to us.
800-959-6348. 800-959-6348. 800-959-6348. Call right now before it's too late. That's 800-959-6348.
Days are getting cooler and shadows are getting longer. You know what that means? It's football weather. So bundle up and keep it here for all the latest strategies and gridiron information. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
We're back. Carver and Lisi, SportsGrid Radio, Sirius XM channel 159. Good to have everybody with us here on the grid for you. What'd you send me earlier, Joe, on the gram? What was that? Was that the Rogers thing you sent me? What was that?
Yeah, this Rogers now
Earlier?
they're doing a 3-part
You see,
series.
they followed him around, I guess, last year after he got hurt to document the long struggle back from the Achilles injury.
If I would have known
I'm just hoping they show us this year too. I hope they followed him around this year also.
But if I would have known that this was coming out prior to the season, that would have been a double down situation for me. This guy never was dialed into football. Never dialed in. Never. Guy was never dialed in. Complete clown show. Clown. No? He's another one.
Yeah.
Hey, we got Tay. Tay's here. Hey, Tay, let me show McAfee. Hey, we got Tay. Look. Hey, Pat, we got Tay.
You love going after that guy.
I
don't
like to
blame
put
you.
him through a wall if I could. I would like if,
I
if
know,
it
but
I would like to
he's
put him through
gutless.
sheetrock. I like to just pound him straight, blind side, right through right through a wall. If I could,
And I learned
I don't want to hurt
my
him.
lesson with them. I knew I shouldn't have done it, Joe, and I picked the Jets on Friday or whatever it was, Wednesday last week. Yeah. Well, because it was a more going against the Seahawks than picking the Jets. I don't think the Seahawks are that great. They were making the long trip. The Jets were coming off a bye. They were at home. If there was ever going to be 1 week where they would maybe actually win a game, and Joe, to be fair, they were up 21-7, and he threw the fat guy pick to Leonard Williams, pick 6 to him, 90-plus yards, and then that was it. It was over for them after that. Finished is what they were. Finished. What did you think of, let's go through a few things. How about Eberflus finally getting chopped? Man, did he screw that up last week at the end of that game. Man, it was time for – and how about the guy Kevin Warren, the president today, yesterday, I think he said this, had the stones to say it's going to be the most desirable job for any coach this offseason. Get lost. Most desirable job. Take a walk.
These people, that Kevin Warren's, Buckeye. Yeah, okay, all right. First of all, they go on the cheap Chicago, right? Second of all, tell me who the best quarterback Chicago's had. Jay Cutler, Rex Grossman, who else? Right?
Yeah.
Jim McMahon, Mike Tomczak. Where's the elite quarterback that they had? Well, Justin Fields, and they got rid of him, but that's all right. I'll say it.
All right.
Come on. Justin Fields, they got rid of the one talent they did have, but that's all right. You know, hey, he's in better pastures. Here's the problem. Did you watch that press conference with Caleb? He's another one. Didn't know. I said this. First thing was on Caleb for not understanding that he didn't realize that he had a timeout in his back pocket. He's calling audibles. I could have had a high school quarterback understand the situation and realize that after 10 seconds, call the timeout, because what are you going to do? Wait till it goes down to 0? And then Eberflus just sitting there with that dumbfounded look on his face. Oh, it was the coordinator's job. Grab some stones. They're paying you millions of dollars to make that call. All these coaches that want to deflect. Well, my coordinator, frig the coordinator. You're the head guy. You want to take the L? What a moron. Coaches. Oh, well, I let Billy Bob make the call. Billy Bob's got the call on my graduate assistant. You know, come on. Wake up with these coaches. They're really so stupid sometimes. They're so smart, they're dumb. And I'll just say this about Eberflus. You knew he was a loser when he went to Nick Saban to ask him how to coach up Caleb Williams. Right then and there, he was in over his head. Complete loser.
We're going to miss him, Joe. We cleaned them all out this year. All the worst coaches in the league. Eberflus, Saleh, and Allen. We cleaned out all three. of the worst coaches in the NFL, all before the season even ended. Got rid of all.
I'll tell you who's next. There's one guy lingering around. One guy down in South Beach, smartest guy in the room that we got to chop his ass too. Chop his ass.
You're the only guy who wants him fired. You're the only guy who wants him fired.
He's a complete nut job. I tell you, if I was the owner, he would have been fired months ago. Complete loser. He is. We're not going anywhere with McDaniel.
And that's all mental, that stuff with the cold now, too, with them, with Green Bay on Thursday. They just can't win in the cold. Can't win in the cold.
They're a product of their head coach. He's gutless, and so is the team. That's the bottom line. Bottom line, we have all this talent. They're like having a Ferrari with no engine. The frame, you have the Ferrari, and you could drive. And remember when you were a kid back in the day, you had the pedals, and you used to have to, ride the bike to make the car go. Those cars back in the day, old school, before we had technology. That's what the Miami Dolphins are. They're all frame. They're nothing under the hood. No heart. Gutless. Nothing under the tank.
Gutless.
You lift up the hood, there's nothing. It's empty.
Amazing. It really is. And they play the Jets this week, right?
Carver.
Fish in the Jets? Flipper against the Jets this week. I don't think he's on the level of those other guys that have been
Why?
chopped.
He doesn't beat anybody that's good.
That's pretty true, though. They don't beat anyone that's good. They don't beat anybody that's good. Ever.
Does he ever make halftime adjustments? You ever see the Dolphins trail at half and win a game in the second half against a good team?
No. Never. Carver and Lisi, SportsGrid Radio, Sirius XM 159. We're back after this.
Don't look like an idiot at work. Know your stuff. Football and everything else. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network. SportsGrid TV and radio networks are the premier streaming video and audio channels dedicated to serving the sports wagering audience. Found on major smart TV platforms and streaming on SportsGrid Radio and Sirius XM Channel 159. SportsGrid's real-time data, expert commentary, and entertaining analysis transform viewers into informed sports enthusiasts. Our weekday radio lineup begins with the early line at 8 a.m. Eastern with Ben Stevens and Donnie Rightside. Donnie joins Kevin Walsh on Moneyline at 11 a.m. Eastern, followed by Football Full Circle at noon Eastern. Kaplan and crew join the party at 1 p.m. Eastern, and Pharrell Coast to Coast keeps things rolling from 3 to 6 p.m. Eastern. Get in the mix with Kevin Walsh and Game Time Decisions at 6 p.m. Eastern. Evenings simmer with Carver and Lisi, then boils over with Gabe Morency on Sports Rage Late Night at 10 p.m. Eastern. To find out where to find SportsGrid that's best for you, go to sportsgrid.com. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. The SportsGrid Radio Network presents This Date in Sports History.
Bob Gibson, who set a new National League record for earned run average this year.
1968, Major League Baseball adopts a series of changes designed to increase offensive run production. The strike zone was decreased and the pitcher's mound was lowered from 15 to 10 inches. Batting averages increased from 237 to 248, while pitchers' ERA jumped from 2.98 to 3.61. For SportsGrid Radio, I'm Mike DeMurgis.
Football Full Circle.
Everything has gone wrong for New York. I don't know how Rodgers, why would any team put any faith in him? So many opportunities to win football games down the stretch when it really counts. 5 games, and he has failed every opportunity this year to get the team in the end zone. I don't know how you would sell the Jets fan base on Aaron Rodgers is going to be our quarterback.
It's Football Full Circle with Ben Stevens and Scott Wetzel. Weekdays noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific on the SportsGrid Radio Network. Days are getting cooler and shadows are getting longer. You know what that means. It's football weather. So bundle up and keep it here for all the latest strategies and gridiron information. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
And we're back. Carver and Lisi with you, Sports Grid Radio, Sirius XM, channel 159. Good to have you with us. All right, Joe. A few other things, and then I want to start talking about some games this week. Number one, what did you think of the Bills' dominant performance in the snow Sunday night? And, man, you could do one thing with the 49ers, Joe. You can kiss them goodbye for this year. They're finished.
Yeah, done. Chopped. That whole team lost its moxie, lost their identity. Their defense sucks, and they don't even have the will to compete anymore. Deebo Samuel dropping passes. And where's Big Deebo now? Huh? He's another one. Dropping pass. 20 yards receiving. Doesn't want to run the football anymore. I mean, Kittle's hit or miss. My guy, Jawan Jennings, is probably the most consistent on that offense. Jawan Jennings. Stick a fork in them. They're done. Toast. And you know what? He's another one. Shannon. Good for him. Get him out.
I'll tell you, Joe, that Deebo takes a big hit this year. They lost a lot of guys. McCaffrey obviously was out most of the year, and now he's not going to play anymore anyway. Ayuk obviously got off to the miserable start from missing camp, and then he got hurt and finished. They really needed Deebo. Kittle's been hurt a lot. They needed Deebo to step up, and he seemed to have absolutely zero interest in doing that this year for the 49ers. Zero interest in doing that. And they have paid him already handsomely, Joe, to be a guy that should step up. So that was if I was a Niner fan, I would be very disheartened by that.
So he's done, right? So this is what you get out of Deebo now. He's protecting the brand. So, he does nothing.
I'd bet they trade him in the offseason.
Think so?
Yeah. You can't have two wide receivers on your team who both got paid tons of money, who both are doing nothing. Gotta get rid of one of them. You gotta clean one out.
Who would take Deebo?
Oh, I think you'd find takers for him. I think you'd find takers. Yeah.
Then all of a sudden he'd find his will to play again. Then all of a sudden Deebo would step up and want to play football.
I don't know that, but I think that there was talk last year about maybe trading him.
Yeah, I know.
Or Ayuk. And I think that what's gone on this year with him, remember he yelling at who was he yelling at? The long snapper or the kicker, and then he's just there's just been a lot of things with him. He gives the reporters the business. I don't know. I think that he's finished there, Joe.
Think he's just disgruntled with losing, or what? He's not. They're not coaching him.
The problem is that it's all nice when the band's all together and you're winning, right, Joe? It's nice like last year and they made the Super Bowl. They made the Super Bowl a couple times in the last 4 years, and that's all fine. But when the times got tough this year, and guys were down, and he was even hurt for a couple weeks too at the beginning of the year. I get that, but he's a big money player on that team who did not show up. Didn't show up.
Olay balls. Olay. You started,
You Olay. How about I still remember, that ball he Olayed in the Packer game last week and led to an interception.
What about the fumble? Fumbled the kickoff in back-to-back weeks. What? He Olayed the ball against Green Bay that led to the interception. He tipped it. What about the fumbles? He's fumbling almost every other play that he gets hit hard. Guys at the last house.
I don't disagree. I do not disagree, Joe. But
would
the main thing is I was trying to get to you.
You want him on the Bills?
Probably not. And I know that's probably sounds like I'm an idiot, but I don't know. I'm not sure.
All right, good answer.
Probably, but
all right.
I don't know, Joe. That doesn't sound great. I know. I apologize. I'm very wishy-washy on that. I probably should give you a better answer than that, but I don't have one. What did you think of the Bills?
Question.
Where do you think the Bills? Obviously, Bills 10-2, Chiefs 11-1. Bills have now both these. I know, but
But wait a second.
We still have to see it when it counts.
I know, but
how many more of these weeks are the Chiefs going to win with these ridiculous endings of these games? Like the Raiders screwing that up last week.
It was right about this time where the Eagles fell off a cliff.
Yeah, they're not going to do that. They're not going to do that. They've won 3 of the last 4 Super Bowls. They're not going to be doing that. They're not that. That's not that Eagle team last year. This is the Chiefs. They don't do that, Joe. I would be very surprised. I'd love it,
You might be
but I'd be
very,
very
surprised.
surprised if it happened.
You might be
Carver
very
and Lisi, SportsGrid Radio. We're back into it.
Loser is kind of a mean-spirited slur.
But it doesn't have to stick.
Tell them to listen to SportsGrid and fix it.
No, thank you. Later.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network. The new SportsGrid app is now available on iOS and the App Store. Experience the ultimate sports betting companion that provides personalized content from your favorite hosts. In-depth matchup previews, game and prop picks, live odds, stats, scores, and more. All in one place. And of course, on the SportsGrid app, you can tune into our live television and radio coverage anytime. On the go, wherever you are. Download the SportsGrid app on the iOS App Store now. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Pharrell, Coast to Coast.
This guy's saying Indiana stinks. They shouldn't be in the playoff. How sadly mistaken you are. You're going to be wrong on that one, brother. They're going to be in that playoff as sure as I'm sitting here. I recommend drinking a lot of rum. And even if you're soft, you might have a few glasses of wine if you're having problems making decisions like this.
It's Pharrell, Coast to Coast with Scott Pharrell. Weekdays, 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific. On the home of the winning edge. The SportsGrid Radio Network.
If you turned 65 recently like me, it's important you find a Medicare Advantage plan that gives you the coverage you're looking for. But finding one can be difficult. The best thing I did, and I suggest you do the same, is call a licensed insurance agent and let them walk you through your Medicare Advantage plan options. There are so many benefits you have access to, so make the call now and let the representatives explain everything to you. Our licensed insurance agents can offer you a variety of Medicare Advantage plans. Plus, the call is free, the information is free, and there's no obligation to enroll. We're here to make it easy for you to select a Medicare Advantage plan that may work for your needs. Finding a Medicare Advantage plan can be easy if you do what I did. Make a quick call right now to learn more. Thank you.
800-365-6303. 800-365-6303. 800-365-6303. That's 800-365-6303.
No way football is played in the fall and winter
Because the hits don't hurt as much when you're numb. Get the lowdown on all the sports action coming up right here.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Yeah. And we're back. Carver and Lisi, SportsGrid Radio, Sirius XM 159. Great to have you aboard here. Obviously, Joe, Friday night we'll do the full preview and picks for all the games, but I want to throw a couple at you here for this week, get some early thoughts on you. Although this one we actually can do right now because you're not going to be here tomorrow, and you'll be with the Syndicate on Thursday night, and it's, I would have to say, game of the week, right, Joe? I mean, game of the week's on Thursday night this week, which is the Packers and the Lions in Detroit. 11-1 Lions, 9-3 Packers. I seen 3.5s at some places. I see some 3s at some places, Joe. But the highest total of the week as well, 51.5 here. Now the Lions beat them in Green Bay, and they were nowhere near 51.5 in that game, Joe. I think it was 24-14 was the final.
It was, but it was a wet track, and it was on grass. This is, in the Dome. Green Bay beat them on Thanksgiving Day in the Dome last year. I like the props in this game. I do like the Packers to win outright. I think they're the right side. And again, I thought you saw some success with Caleb. I think Jared Goff and Jordan Love both throw for 250 plus. I'm going to be on Jaden Reed and St. Brown.
So it sounds to me, Joe, like, and I don't think that this is a wrong tact by you. And I think for a game like this, 2 heavy hitter teams, big total, primetime game, indoors, you're going to the big dogs. You're going right to the guys, best players on the field. They're going to make it happen. Him. I'm going to go and key the big guys. So this is normally, because sometimes you get too cute, like Monday night, when you're telling this Humphrey and this other guy that Donnie was chasing after. You guys are getting too cute. And instead, you're not going to go chase Tim Patrick or Dontavian Wicks and some of these other. You're going big dogs. Jaden Reed, St. Brown, let's go. You're in.
Yeah, and I really like Green Bay, so I'm taking Green Bay straight.
Yeah?
Yeah. I think Green Bay is going to catch them in this game. I do. Now, typically I would add the total to that, but I'm not because I'm going to wait. I'm in on the passing props and I'm in on the receivers. That's what I'm in on. And I'm scared. We're not scared. It's just, I mean, you get 1 8-minute drive or 1 8-minute lull, and that's going to be mid 40s. So I'd rather wait. No?
Going to wait it out. All right. That's not a problem. Wait it out,
this
Joe.
game is like a track meet right from the get-go, and it's like 35 points in the first quarter. Then I'll be kicking myself.
Anything's possible. I hope it's just like the Brown Bronco game from last night. I hope it's just like that. Lots of points, up and down, plenty of offense, plenty of opportunity for us to hit bets, as you were saying before. Lions have got a pretty tough finish here.
Yeah.
And the Eagles, we've talked about this the last few weeks. The Eagles are right behind them. And the Eagles play the Panthers this week. So and I know the Panthers have played better, and they did again this week, Joe. Bryce Young had another chance to win that game against Baker. But they're not going to go into Philadelphia and beat the Eagles. They're not going to do that. So the Eagles are going to get to 11-2. Detroit loss would get them to 11-2. So the Eagles very much would be back in the mix here for the top seed.
Eagles won 8 straight, Carver. Their defense is phenomenal. I mean,
defense is playing great.
And that's Vic Fangio, and that's what he's done to that team. He's transformed them. That was the weakness and the Achilles heel last year, along with the rushing attack. They couldn't run it when they had to, right, in big matchups, and that's what Saquon brings. Another 100-yard performance. He's playing at an MVP caliber level. I mean, the defense is coming off Nakobe Dean, Jalen Carter. I mean, come on, Jordan Davis, all those guys, right? And it didn't matter that Darius Slay and all those guys were banged up last week. Did it?
Didn't matter. Did not matter at all as they beat the Ravens in Baltimore. I said it, Joe. I told you outright with the Eagles last week.
How'd I do with the NFL picks this week?
The NFL this week. Let me go and bring that up. 1, 2, 3, 4. I got 4-1 for you. Good week.
That's a good week. All right, good.
4-1. You hit Dallas on Thanksgiving.
Right.
You had Washington, the over in the Cincinnati Steeler game, and the Rams -2.5.
Oh,
so you had the Rams. Good. And then the only loss was the Vikings with the point, -3.5.
Yeah, and I changed that by the time because the more I thought about it, I mean, on the show, I said, I was probably wrong on the Vikes. They had won 4 straight by like very narrow margins,
Mm-hmm.
So the more I broke it down on Sunday morning, I was like, you know what? I think I'm wrong on this. So everything else.
Let's remember this too, because we haven't gotten to do this yet. Matthias has come around here a lot with this Falcon team, this Dirty Bird team this year. When they got to 6-3.
Carver, this team is godless.
I cannot believe that hack threw 4 picks on Sunday.
Yeah.
A pick 6 when they're driving, another pick when they're driving, another pick. Like, how many more picks do we want to throw?
But wait a second.
I mean, honestly.
And we got to call out Drake London for dropping right in the breadbasket with a minute left inside the 15-yard line, right in his chops, and he was afraid about getting hit. Catch the football. Catch the football.
Wouldn't have mattered. You know why? Because Kirk would have thrown his 5th pick, even if he caught that football, Joe. They have massive red zone issues. They haven't been able to throw a touchdown in who knows how many games now. Drake
he's
everything he
telling
could
us about the
possibly do.
weaknesses.
How many targets did he have?
When he was walking in the streets and wanted to carry Raheem Morris on a chariot and anoint the Atlanta Falcons as the best team in the whole NFC. Wow.
I got bad news for him. The Falcons are finished. They're not winning the South. They're done.
No, Tampa is. Tampa. And you know
Finished.
what? I would
They're
bet
not
more
finished.
on the Rizzler.
They're
the
not
Rizzler
finished.
might
You
have
guys are
some better
drinking the
stuff,
Kool-Aid.
that gutless team.
Nah, the
than-
Rizzler's too far back. The Rizzler's finished.
The
They're not-
Rizzler
they're
just
not winning
lost. Come on, guys. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers aren't that great either. We're talking about a bad division. The Falcons need a spark.
They got
They
more
need a
heart
spark.
than your team.
You could
They
be
got
out.
more-
At the end of the day,
they got-
you're going to say you're proud of them when they win the South. That's what you're going to tell me. You're going to say, I'm proud of them, Matthias.
What is he
proud of them for winning
talking
the South.
about?
They're not
That's
going
what
to
you're
win.
gonna
They're
say.
not going to win the South. They're not going to win the South. They're finished. They are finished.
They're not finished. They're not toast
Mark
yet,
it
guys.
down. This show tonight, play the tape when it's finally said and done. They are cooked. They are not winning the division.
What happens if the
They
Raiders
are
go out
not
and beat
making the
Tampa Bay
playoffs.
this week? What happens if the Raiders go out and beat Tampa Bay? Are they going to be
What
finished then?
happens if Andy and Nuts were effing Bucks, and every day would be.
I wouldn't say that, but the Buccaneers almost lost to the Panthers. They got by the skin of their teeth. By the skin of their teeth. The Panthers gave them the game.
Panthers are
Hubbard
playing good ball. Panthers are playing good ball right now.
Your team
Bryce Young
sucks.
is back.
still suck.
You have wide receivers that can't catch. You have a coach that doesn't know how to utilize his best weapon, his running back. You have a defense that doesn't tackle. Yeah, you have a quarterback that's turnover prone and is a deer in the headlights when he sees a pass rush. What more do you want? Your team is gutless. I would burn every jersey you have and start over.
I want a victory, Joe. I want a victory. This team needs a victory. They got to get back to their winning ways. They got to get a victory in Minnesota this Sunday. Wouldn't it be the first time they win in Minnesota either? That's what they got to do. They got to shock the world, like Juwan Howard said before. Shock the world. They got to shock the world. They go in and win it on Sunday in Minnesota. They're right back in the hunt. You know what? They're right back in the hunt with the W.
Wait a second. Who said shock the world?
Juwan Howard, baby.
Juwan Howard, yeah. He was supposed to turn around Michigan. How did he do with that? Huh?
Made it to the national championship, Joe. Got to play in a national championship game, Joe.
Carver and Lisi, SportsGrid Radio, Sirius XM 159. We're back here.
Yeah, it's getting cooler. Football weather is here. Stay tuned for all the latest odds, strategies, and info. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network. SportsGrid TV and radio networks are the premier streaming video and audio channels dedicated to serving the sports wagering audience. Found on major smart TV platforms and streaming on SportsGrid Radio and Sirius XM Channel 159. SportsGrid's real-time data, expert commentary, and entertaining analysis transform viewers into informed sports enthusiasts. Our weekday radio lineup begins with the early line at 8 a.m. Eastern with Ben Stevens and Donnie Rightside. Donnie joins Kevin Walsh on Moneyline at 11 a.m. Eastern, followed by Football Full Circle at noon Eastern. Kaplan and crew join the party at 1 p.m. Eastern, and Pharrell Coast to Coast keeps things rolling from 3 to 6 p.m. Eastern. Get in the mix with Kevin Walsh and Game Time Decisions at 6 p.m. Eastern. Evenings simmer with Carver and Lisi, then boils over with Gabe Morency on Sports Rage Late Night at 10 p.m. Eastern. To find out where to find SportsGrid that's best for you, go to sportsgrid.com. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. The SportsGrid Radio Network presents This Date in Sports History.
Bob Gibson, who set a new National League record for earned run average this year.
1968, Major League Baseball adopts a series of changes designed to increase offensive run production. The strike zone was decreased and the pitcher's mound was lowered from 15 to 10 inches. Batting averages increased from 237 to 248, while pitchers' ERA jumped from 2.98 to 3.61. For SportsGrid Radio, I'm Mike DeMurgis.
Sports Rage tonight.
The Cleveland Browns. All right, so you guys got an interception. Is there really a need for your entire defense to run into the end zone and pose for fake pictures? How about you score a touchdown and you do that? Oh, I did my job and I intercepted an easy pass, so let me run around like I just won the Super Bowl. Act like you've been there before, like the great ones.
It's Sports Rage tonight with Gabe Morency. Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 Pacific. On the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Fall is almost here. It's time to stow the lawnmower and get ready for all that glorious action coming your way. Stay tuned to SportsGrid for all the strategies, angles, and info you need to get the winning edge. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
we're back. Carver and Lisi, SportsGrid Radio, Sirius XM 159. Great to have you with us here on the grid. All right, Joe. Let's quickly, and I'm bouncing around, obviously, but I need to do that sometimes.
Bounce, baby, bounce.
The college football championship games for Friday night. So there's 3 of them. 3 games. We have the American, the Mountain West, and the Conference USA. So let's do the picks for those 3. We'll go from worst to the best. Western Kentucky and Jacksonville State. Friday night. That game is in Jacksonville, so they host it. The better seed hosts the game, so the Jack State has got a home game here. Open 1.5, now at 3.5, 57.5 the total for these 2. They did play last week, and Western Kentucky beat them 19-17 at home to get into the game.
Rich Rod, they started so slow. They're playing much better. I'm gonna take Western Kentucky. I like that scenario. I like where they just won and now they have to win again. I know people say it's very difficult going on the road, but I'll take a shot. I'm gonna take Western Kentucky. I'll take a shot on the money line. I like them a lot.
So you're taking Western Kentucky plus the 3.5?
Yep.
You think they beat them 2 weeks in a row, huh? Think they'll beat them again?
Yeah, plus I'm also thinking how you might pick, and you like Rich Rod, so you'll lean Rich Rod. So I'm taking Western Kentucky. That's my pick.
Well, I probably do lean Rich Rod, Joe, but I gotta tell you, I'm not taking them. I'm actually gonna go to the total in this game. Now, it was a blue collar game last week, 19-17. And I'm not going to lie to you. I think it's going to be a blue collar game again. And the total's gone up to 57.5. What did it open at, Joe? What did the total open at? 58.5. 58.5. So already down to 57.5. Well, that's the numbers I have here.
All right.
I'm going under, Joe. Under 57.5 for me for that title game. So WKU and Jacks under 57.5. All right. Next, let's do the American. Tulane and Army are going to play. Now, of course, I can't play that, Joe, here in New York, but I, of course, will pick it here with you. American Conference Championship game, which is actually, Joe, in West Point, huh? Playing the game on a Friday night in West Point? Wow. How about that? -5 for Tulane. 45.5 total. The home dogs up at West Point. Oh, go ahead, Joe. I know you want to do it. Go ahead. Go ahead. Been your team all year.
I watched Tulane dismantle Navy, right? And I can't be burned by this Army team yet again. But that's going to be dynamic. What an atmosphere. Give me the Army. My heart says Tulane, much better team in the interior. It's going to look like Notre Dame, but something tells me Nishi Stadium. That place is a hornet's nest at night. Oh, on the Hudson. Here's the thing. That total. You know, I can't take a total. Give me Army. Give me Army. You're gonna probably take Tulane, but I've liked Army all. I want the Cadets in this spot. I want the Cadets in this spot.
I'm doing what you should have did, and I know you were about to do it. Is I'm taking the over, 45.5, up and away. Let's get some points under the lights. A little cold in upstate New York on Friday night. That's okay. I think we could get both teams into the 20s. Over 45.5, Joe, for me, Tulane and Army. I'm going with the over.
All right.
Final game. Mountain West Championship on the blue turf. UNLV and Boise. Huge game Because I would say at this point, the winner will be in the... we know that if Boise wins, they'll be in. And I'm pretty sure if UNLV wins, they'll be in as well. This has gone down to 3.5. Boise minus 3.5. Joe, I saw some 6.5s on Sunday. Down to 3.5. 58.5 total. Earlier this season, they played in Vegas. 29-24, Boise beat them. Great game.
That was the game that after they lost. Oh, no, that was the Kansas game, right? Where the kid transferred right after.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to go under. That's my pick.
You going with the under?
I'm going with the under. Because both teams are going to run it. And with running it comes time of possession and clock. And I know that UNLV's defense is a sieve. But in this game, I think Barry Odom's going to dial up some new formations, some different schemes to contain Ashton Jeanty, or as some people call him, Jeanty. I'm going under.
I'm taking UNLV, Joe.
Oh, there it is.
I'm taking UNLV. I think it's going to be tough for them to beat Boise a second time. I get the games on the blue turf and the potato field. I don't care. I'm taking Odom. I'm taking the running Rebs and the crew. Let's go here, Joe. Plus to 3.5. I wish I could have got the number I got earlier in the week, but we get 3.5 right now. That's how it goes. UNLV for me. So under in the Western Kentucky game, over in the Army game, and UNLV for me.
And I have both dogs, Army and Western Kentucky, and the under in Boise, UNLV.
There you go. And we will do, of course, the rest of the picks. Joe, we'll do the rest of the picks.
And you go like one, and then we're exactly even heading into Saturday.
Anything's possible, I suppose. Anything's possible. Start fresh for the Bulls. Back in.
Luck is winning the lottery. Strategy is settling your divorce before cashing in the ticket. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. Get the winning edge. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
The Technology Minute with George Capalbo.
I overslept. It's noon and I haven't defrosted the turkey. I called an old MIT friend, a thermodynamics expert, who told me to fire up the oven quick, blast that turkey 10 minutes, starting a thaw, and the Maillard reaction. That's the complex chemistry that browns the skin, seals the juices, and smells awesome. Dunk that bird in running water, 20 minutes a pound, speed thaw to no more than 40 degrees, or get to meet salmonella.
Who is that? Some washed up jockey?
No, that's food poisoning. Then spatchcock the turkey.
Excuse me?
Cut out the backbone and roast it flat till that bird's dead, really dead at 165 degrees.
Dinner is served.
In record time. Follow me at Chica Palbo on Twitter and stay tuned to The Technology Minute for more cool stuff like this. Enjoy your bird.
Do you use the expensive blue or yellow pills to charge your sex life? Are you thinking about it? What if we can promise you the same results for less than $3 a pill? If you're paying $20 a pill for the other pills, you're getting taken to the cleaners. Our pills deliver the exact same results for less than $3. You'll save more than $16 a pill for the same results. And right now, radio callers will get 44 blue or yellow pills for $120 with free discreet shipping. You can save more than $700 off pharmacy prices. Charge your sex life now and save a ton of money. Call now and get your 44 pills and save over $700 and qualify for free shipping. Stop overpaying and call right now.
Paid for by Steel Man Pills. 800-823-3851. 800-823-3851. 800-823-3851. That's 800-823-3851.
No way football is playing in the fall and winter because the hits don't hurt as much when you're numb. Get the lowdown on all the sports action coming up right here. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
we're back. Carver and Lisi, SportsGrid Radio, Sirius XM 159. Good to have you aboard here. All right, Joe. Let's finish with a couple of other things. I took a break from the NFL to make sure we got those picks in before we leave. Few other games this week of significance, I suppose. Well, the Browns, of course, beat the Steelers a couple of weeks ago on Thursday Night Football. Now they go to Pittsburgh. Steelers 9-3. A win would get them to 10-3, and a full 2 games ahead of the Ravens with 4 weeks to go, and they beat them. So really 2.5 games up on the Ravens with 4 weeks to go. The Steelers aren't going to lose twice to the Browns, right, Joe?
It's possible. I mean, what's the total? I didn't look at the total in the game, but what's the total?
43.5.
Now that's so odd and bizarre because it was 39.5, 40.5 in Cleveland. And now all of a sudden, now we're only 3. You got both quarterbacks coming off 900 yards total combined, and they're going to put a 43.5 number in? Huh? You think Tomlin gets all nervous? The play sheet where like we had too much offense last week. We got to dial. We're gonna run it. This is an Arthur Smith run it 40 times a game. So I like the under. I would probably lay it with the Steelers, like Jameis going on the road back to back. I mean, he's a human turnover machine. No,
I like the under with you. I think it's an under in this game.
Doesn't that smell under? Like, or is it just me?
Yes, it does. The Kirk Cousins Bowl. Coming off 4 picks, he goes back to Minnesota to see the Vikings. Vikings minus 5.5 and a 45.5. Now, I will say that number's a little fishy for me, Joe, considering the mighty Vikings are 10-2. And the Falcons have lost 3 games in a row. They look awful, and the number's only 5.5.
Well, how about this, Carver? How about that? This line is actually a lot, in my opinion. Because think of this. Just think of this, okay? They entered that game last week, winning 4 games by an average margin of victory of 6.5 points per game. They won by 1 against Arizona. So if you put in the 5 games, right? So roughly it's like what? It's like 32.5 points, 33 points. 34 divided by 9, divided by 5 is right? I'm thinking 34. It's right. That's a cheap line, an expensive line, in my opinion. I think they get smashed. Let me ask you this. Think about this for a second. Kirk Cousins is immobile. What did they do to Joe Flacco? They beat him up how many times? They are going to blitz him on each and every down, Brian Flores. Do you have confidence that they're going to go into the dome and move the football? It's not Kyler Murray. It's not Kyler.
We've already done this. I think the Falcons are finished. So I would, I don't trust the Vikings. I don't think the Vikings are that great, but who knows? I like the over.
It's like 6.5 points per game they've won. 6.7, right? 6.7. So I was adding, I was thinking that they won by a touchdown. They won by 1. So think about that. They've won like that's an expensive line for Minnesota. They laid 3.5 against Chicago. They laid what? What was the line? 4.5? What was the line? 3.5 against Arizona. They laid 5.5 against Tennessee, right? They laid. What did they lay in the first game Jacksonville
got to 7 with 6.5, 7. Yeah, right. 6.5.
That's an expensive line considering how close they've been. They're going to Smith Carver. I think they win. I might alt it up to 9.5. I think they're going to. I don't think he's going to go in, and that might be the sexy play of the week, like Kirk going. But they're going to blitz him on each and every down. I mean, unless Atlanta can run that game, they're going to smash them, I think.
Smash them. Finish them off. Joe,
Sweep the leg.
Great job. Tomorrow night, I'll be here with a slice of Burbell. Carver and Joe will be back with me on Friday night. I'll be with the Syndicate on Thursday. Carver and Lisi, SportsGrid Radio. Cash some tickets. See you tomorrow. Oh, no, great.
The boys of